Good morning, hope you're having an amazing day. Welcome back to our channel. So I guess you want to know about Qatar. You're coming to live here, work here, maybe just for a visit. Most people don't have a clue what or where Qatar even is. So let me tell you, as you know, we've been in Qatar for a while now. In this short but informative video, I'm going to tell you all the things that you definitely need to know when coming to visit this amazing country.
Just my dream. I spend my days out in the sun. I got nowhere to run. Yeah, so it seems.
So let's jump straight into the video. So it's officially the state of Qatar, or Qatar, say it how you wish. Qatar is a proper pronunciation. It's a country located in Western Asia, it's in the Persian Gulf, it has one land border with Saudi Arabia. So Qatar is a beautiful Muslim country, wields significant power not only in the Arab world, for its small size, it's a significant player in world politics and world economics. It's not only one of the safest countries in the world, it offers true Arabian hospitality. The population is only about 15% locals, the rest are expatriates. This shows in the food. There's food cuisines from all over the world. On top of that, there's adventure, sand dunes, and of course, year-round sunshine. So actually, if you didn't know, Qatar is the richest country on the whole planet. This is due to its massive amounts of oil reserves and particularly natural gas reserves. It's got the best airline in the world for the last 6 years running. It's in the top 2 world's best airports. It's also well known as the best country on the planet to start a career. So in 2022, the FIFA World Cup is going to be held in this beautiful country. It'll be the first Muslim country and actually the first Arab country to hold this massive footballing event. 2030 Asian Games will also be held here, and I understand from a very good source that the 2032 Olympics will definitely be held in Qatar. So you've decided to come. What do you need to know? Let's start with the main thing. Like, the heat's insane. It's over 50 degrees in summer, and the humidity is worse. Seriously, this is a hot, humid place. And you're unlikely to have been anywhere with this climate. So the weather, you can basically group it into 2 seasons. There's the hot season, that's May to October, where you just stay inside. You know, you rely on air conditioning. Go from your office to your car, to the mall, back to your car, back to home, AC all the way for 6 months. Trust me, this is how it is. Cool months are December to February, so only 3 months that are cool. So like March, April and November. It's still hot, but it's bearable. It's just about tolerable. So what do you wear? The heat means you can't wear too much, but you have to dress modestly. It's a Muslim country. You need to dress modestly while you're in public, even if you're driving your car. Ladies, make sure you cover your shoulders. No short skirts, no revealing shorts. Guys, shorts and vest, not really acceptable, but in the winter, pack a jumper, pack a sweater or a hoodie, because it does get cold at night. Traditional Qatari dress, it's the thobe, so that's a white garment over long white trousers, and the headdress for guys, and the abaya or the shayla for women. As an expat, you don't have to wear the traditional dress. Looks really cool, so check out a video coming soon. I'm going to wear a thobe and I'm going to be an Arab for a day. Super important, respect the community and the culture. Local laws and customs reflect the fact that Qatar is a Muslim and an Islamic country. So there are big penalties for doing things here that may be perfectly fine and perfectly legal to do in your country. You're strongly advised to familiarise yourself with the local laws before you come here. First of all, any public intimacy, even holding hands, even if you're married, can't hold your wife's hand, you can't kiss her in public, make sure you're aware of that. You know, homosexuality, all over the world, it's now kind of mainstream. In Qatar, it's not tolerated. In fact, it's illegal. So any gay or homosexual activity, men to men, women to women, whatever, don't do it. The state religion in Qatar is Islam. Most Qataris belong to the Sunni sect of Islam. Qatar is a very welcoming and understanding country. And of course, other religions are respected. They're accepted here. The places of worship and churches for any religion you can imagine. Although, if you're not a Muslim, if you're a non-Muslim, you can't worship in public. You'll see the Muslims praying in the streets, the side of the road, wherever. Outside of Muslim religion, you can't worship in public. Also, one more thing regarding religion. You can't promote your own religion. For example, if you're a Christian, you can't promote your Christian religion to other people. It carries a stiff punishment, a very stiff punishment. You're quite welcome to worship in the right places, just don't do it in public. Be aware of your actions and make sure they don't offend any religious beliefs. This is especially in the month of Ramadan, or if you're going to visit any religious areas. Let's talk about driving. So you can drive in Qatar for 1 year on your local country's licence. Before you come here, you need to obtain an IDP, that's an international driving permit from your local authority. If you're going to stay here and you want to be driving for longer than 12 months, you need to take the Qatari driving test as a practical and a theory test. So road discipline is notoriously poor here. People drive fast, they don't take a great deal of care, they also do some very, very strange manoeuvres, let's put it that way. A lot of Qatar is desert. You're going to want to drive in the desert, you need a 4x4. Don't try and go anywhere in your car, really, you'll get stuck. We have many times. Take a good supply of water, make sure you've got a mobile phone, let somebody know where you're going in your whole route. Get stuck in a desert without any water, you're going to have a big problem. It's a big offence in Qatar to drink and drive. It's not tolerated whatsoever. 0 alcohol. If you get caught having a drink, you're looking at 3 years in prison, seriously. You get deported when you come out of prison and you get fined by 10,000 Qatar riyals, which is about £2,000. So one little thing you'll need to know about Qatari drivers or driving in Qatar. If you're at traffic lights, as soon as the lights change or even before they change, people beep beep, beep beep, beep beep, they're picking their horn, honking their horn at you before you even move. Even if it's a split second, it's very, very irritating. But after you've been here for 6 months, you'll find yourself doing it as well. A good thing about Qatar, petrol is super cheap. You're looking at 1.8 Qatar riyals per litre. That works out about 36 pence or 0.4 euro. Petrol prices are set in law every month, so everywhere you go, petrol's the same price. They can't charge extra somewhere like they do in the UK or around the world. Motorway service stations charge extra for petrol. Here, everything's the same price. So alcohol. Alcohol is very restricted here. It's only available in 5-star hotels. It's not available in supermarkets or shops. There's one place outside the hotels that you can buy alcohol. It's a place called QDC, Qatar Distribution Centre. You need a permit for that. You have to be earning a good amount of money and a good profession. So lower workers, you're not allowed a permit. Again, it's an offence to drink alcohol in public. It's an offence to have alcohol in public. Don't carry alcohol with you. If you buy it at QDC, you take it to your car, you take it home, that's it. The legal drinking age in Qatar is 21, and anywhere you go, you need to take your permit or your passport or some form of ID before you go in. So we're all on social media, it's a big thing here. You need to be aware of cultural sensitivities when you're filming. So no filming in military sites, religious complexes, also construction sites, believe it or not. If you're concerned that you're going to be filming in an area where you're not allowed to, always make sure you get permission. That goes for taking pictures of people and video of people in the streets, especially the ladies. Be careful who you photograph, seriously. If you're unsure, make sure you ask permission from the person you're going to photograph. It's also super illegal to import pornography, drugs, alcohol or pork into Qatar. Every single piece of luggage is scanned thoroughly at the one airport on the way in and out. You've been warned. So in Qatar, vaping is illegal, electronic cigarettes illegal, liquids etc. to go with vaping also illegal, you're not allowed to have them. Electric supply here, 240 volts, same as the UK. Most of the plug sockets are 3-pin like the UK plug sockets. 2 adapters, a D and a G type adapter will cover you completely in this country. So citizens of most countries can get a 30-day on-arrival visa at the airport when you land in Qatar. Please check your specific country before you come here, just in case, but 30 days is the max. If you're intending to stay longer than 30 days, you can extend your visa once for another 30 days, then you have to leave the country. If you're travelling here for any other purpose than tourism, you need to get a visa before you travel. Also, if you're wishing to stay longer, you need a sponsor to stay any longer in Qatar. If you're going to work here, that's usually your employer. It's a pretty simple procedure. If you've got a job here anyway, you're coming to work from outside, your employer would usually do all this for you. So once you come to Qatar, you're applying for a residence permit, you've been sponsored by your employer, you have to have a medical. You have an X-ray and blood tests. They test for tuberculosis, hepatitis A, hepatitis B, HIV, a few other things also. If you test positive for anything like this, it's likely that you won't be able to work here. If you come to work here, you get a residence permit. A residence permit lasts 1 year. After that, you need to renew for another year. The talking about having a new law imposed where you can't work in Qatar after the age of 62, which is something to bear in mind. Is there crime in Qatar? Maybe. I've never seen it. I don't even think there's a prison here. I've left my car running. I own an expensive car. You can leave it running in public. No one will touch it. I left my laptop on the car seat, outside overnight, still there. Left your wallet or your phone in a restaurant, it'll get returned to you. The crime rate is really that low. However, if you're a female, be careful going out alone at night. So financial crimes, bounce checks, fraud, these kind of things will land you in hot water in Qatar. If you bounce a check, you get arrested. If you have any unpaid loans or financial commitments, you won't be able to leave the country and finish your employment until you settle these in full before your residence permit is cancelled. If you have a residence permit, you'll get a health card from the Hamad Medical Corporation. It entitles you to severely discounted treatment within the Qatari medical and dental service. Really, really fantastic healthcare system in this country. So some medicines are regulated here, not like in other countries. Make sure you bring a prescription for any medicine that you're taking. However, some medicines can be bought over the counter that you would need a prescription for in the UK. For example, you can buy antidepressants over the counter, you can buy contraceptive pills over the counter, and other things that aren't available without a prescription in the UK. And yes, if you're just a visitor, emergency treatment is available for free, medical care is available for free, also excellent healthcare for visitors. Just know that you're safe when you come to this country. Doesn't mean you shouldn't have insurance. Make sure you're fully insured when you come to Qatar, especially for expatriation in case of anything very serious you need to get yourself home. Medical emergencies, any emergencies, number is 999, dial it from your phone for free. Let's talk about money. The currency is the Qatar Rial, so 1 Qatar Rial is about 20 English pence. Fluctuates a little bit, but that's basically what it is. The currency is linked directly to the US dollar. All major debit cards, credit cards are accepted in all the bigger stores. However, if you're shopping in a local store, in the local markets or souks, you're going to want to pay cash. ATMs are available everywhere, in the malls, in the stores, even in the streets. They have drive-through ATM machines. It's amazing. One of the best things about Qatar, there's no tax on your salary. You can definitely save a good amount of money here. But watch out, Qatar can be very expensive. Watch out, our video coming up next week for some amazing money saving tips while you're living in Qatar. It's Friday and Saturday. Takes some getting used to, the weekend not being Saturday and Sunday. The work week starts on a Sunday. Took me a while to get my head around it, but it's what it is. Get a pay-as-you-go SIM card on arrival at the airport or any local shop. There's 2 networks only, Ooredoo and Vodafone. Simply buy a voucher anywhere, depending on what you need. Texts, calls, data, international calls. You're going to be paying about £20 to £30 a month, depending on your specific needs. By the way, WhatsApp calls don't work at all. You need a VPN. Even some VPNs don't work. One that does work, Hotspot Shield. I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's free, guaranteed to work for WhatsApp and FaceTime calls. Arabic is the official language of Qatar. The majority of the Qatari population use Arabic as their mother tongue. You don't need to know Arabic here to get by. Everybody speaks English. But hey, learn a few Arabic words. The locals will appreciate it. It's fun. It's good for you. Bear in mind also that although English is spoken widely, there's a lot of people from different nationalities and different countries in the country. So how they speak English and understand English may be different to you. So speak slowly and listen carefully. Getting around Qatar, very simple. Being a severely hot destination, you need to think about your mode of transport when you're getting around. You don't want to be walking around in the peak of summer. It's absolutely stifling. You will die. Trust me. Been there last year, went for a walk, 2 kilometres, dead. Almost dead. So don't go for a walk in summer, even if it's only a short distance. You'll be very surprised how this heat gets to you. Motoring is cheap here. Get a car if you can. If you don't own a car, it's still easy to get around. Public transport is fantastic. I think 80% of the population is in the capital city, Doha. There's a fantastic metro network. It's easy to commute to and from work by public buses or taxi. Just to be aware, the front seats of buses and metro trains are reserved for women and children. The average fare for a journey is about 3 to 4 Qatar riyals inside and around Doha. Go outside the city, you're looking at somewhere between 6 and 9 Qatar riyals per journey. If you're going to use public transport a lot, a Carwa smart card is probably the best value for you. If you want to purchase a Carwa smart card, you can do so at the airport, the bus stations, the metro stations, most of the big malls. You can also buy one online from the Mo Salat website. I'll leave a link again in the description box below. 3 popular taxi companies in the country. There's Kareem, there's Carwa, and there's also an Uber. Obviously, I'm sure you're familiar with Uber. There's apps for all 3. Probably Carwa's the better, a little bit cheaper. Bear in mind, Uber drivers, super efficient. You can get an Uber and they're always there at your door within 2 minutes of ordering. As I mentioned before, the Doha Metro, it's fantastic. The metro system's around 300 kilometres long, it has over 100 stations. You can get anywhere on the Doha Metro. What about flights? There's one airport, there's one operational airport in Qatar. It's called Hamad International Airport. It's regularly voted one of the best airports in the world. It's a really beautiful airport. There's an old airport, it's not in use anymore, it's only for commercial flights. They're talking about reopening it temporarily to deal with the traffic that's coming in for the 2022 World Cup. This obviously means there's no domestic flights within Qatar. The country's only, I think, 550 kilometres all the way around the coastline, so get on a bus, get in a car, get a train, it's much easier. Let's talk about my favourite thing, food. The variety of food in Qatar is amazing. As I said before, the population is so diverse, there's food from every place in the world. Indian, Thai, Filipino, Sri Lankan. Despite spending lots of time in India, some of the best Indian food I've had in the world has been in Qatar. It's really that good. There's a fantastic app, it's called Talabat. It's like similar to Uber Eats or Deliveroo or Just Eat, but 1,000 times better. Every restaurant in Qatar is on Talabat. Simply order from the app and it's with you in a short space of time. It's also very cheap. So Friday brunch, it's a big thing to do. Obviously it's on every Friday, usually at high-end hotels or bars. It costs you around 50 to 70 English pounds or 350 Qatar riyals for unlimited food and unlimited alcoholic drinks. Actually, food delivery is also available from local stores. Find their WhatsApp number, send them a WhatsApp, they'll bring the food. That easy. It's amazing. It's one of my favourite things about this country. Prayer calls. I have 5 prayer calls every day. A little bit unusual at first, but I find it really soothing. Nothing nicer than sat on your balcony with a cup of coffee, listening to the evening call to prayer. You'll see prayers being said at the side of the road, outside the mosques, just in the street, or sometimes even in the shopping mall. So one of the things that we're so proud of in Qatar, we developed the app. It's called EHTERAZ. It's amazing. So EHTERAZ is the Arabic word for precaution, and it's an app developed right at the start of the coronavirus pandemic. It's available on all your smartphones, iOS, Android. EHTERAZ is a legal requirement in Qatar. You have to have it installed on your mobile phone. It uses Bluetooth, GPS and mobile data to track your location, who you've been near, whether you're positive, negative, tested, etc. EHTERAZ was initially developed for Qatar citizens and residents. Now it's available to anyone, so even if you're coming on a visit visa, you need to install EHTERAZ when you arrive at the airport. So it's shown on your phone as a QR code. It's green, it's red, it's yellow, it's grey, depending on your status, whether you're positive or negative. It also shows your vaccination certificate to prove you've been fully vaccinated. It shows your vaccine date, your vaccine dose and your vaccine type. So if your EHTERAZ shows green, it means you're negative or you're not showing any symptoms. Red means you're positive. Yellow means you should be in quarantine. And grey means you are suspected. So you've either shown some symptoms and you've not been tested yet, or you've been in contact with someone who has tested positive. It's a fantastic, excellent system, and it's done really well for this country. Well done. The fine is 50,000 Qatar riyals or 3 years in prison if you get caught without it on your phone. You also can't enter any shops, for example, to buy food, any malls, any restaurants, cafeterias, without showing the EHTERAZ app, and they will take your temperature at the door. It's a very secure, very safe system. I'm proud of this country for developing it. So, what does it cost to live in Qatar? Well, despite the richness of the country, it's not going to cost you as much as you think. A meal in an expensive restaurant is going to cost you 25 Qatar riyals, or about £5. It's about 3 riyals for a bottle of Coke, 1.3 riyals for a bottle of water. A packet of cigarettes is going to cost you about 24 Qatar riyals. The average monthly salary in the country is around 11,000 Qatar riyals. which is about £2,000, while some of the lower paid jobs are paid 1,500 to 2,500 Qatar riyals, which is a very low wage considering, although they are provided accommodation and all their food and transportation in with that. A bottle of beer is going to cost you between 45 and 55 Qatar riyals in one of the high-end hotels. McDonald's full combo meal, Big Mac meal is about 25 Qatar riyals. When I ride in a taxi, it's going to cost about 3 Qatar riyals per kilometre. So one more thing, let's just talk a little bit about the monarchy of Qatar. Who is the ruler of this beautiful country? So Qatar has been ruled by the House of Thani since Mohammed bin Thani signed an agreement with the British in 1868 that recognised the country's separate status. Following Ottoman rule, Qatar became a British protectorate and in 1971 gained its own independence. Qatar is an absolute monarchy, so the current ruler of Qatar is Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Sheikh Tamim is the youngest ruler in the GCC in the Middle East. He's also loved by the Qatari people. We've been all around the world. There's only 3 places I have seen a ruler loved as much. Qatar, the UK, Queen Elizabeth, and King Rama IX in Thailand, the most revered monarchs I have ever seen, and the people in Qatar absolutely adore this guy. Tamim was educated in Great Britain at Sherborne School, he then went to Harrow School and then the Royal Military Academy at Sandhurst. He was appointed Commander-in-Chief of Qatari's Armed Forces. He's a really forward, progressive thinking ruler. And he's brought the World Cup to Qatar, he's brought the Asian Games to Qatar. He promotes sport to raise the country's international awareness. He's well loved in Qatar and you can see why. So by the people who know him, Sheikh Tamim is described as confident, friendly and very open. He's also described as savvy, careful and conservative. And that's the end of this Qatar video.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, hit the bell icon so you get notified when we do some more, and leave us a comment. Don't forget to check out some of our other videos around Qatar lifestyle and travelling for when we can get on a plane soon. See you soon. Bye.